Ladies and gentlemen, I call the City Council Committee of the Whole meeting for September 19th to order. Just so everyone knows, the mayor is leading a coalition of River City mayors currently here in Davenport to develop wonderful ideas on how better the Mississippi and the surrounding communities can work together. So he's on that mission. So at this time, in hopes that they'll do good work, we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Alderwoman McGinnis, will you be kind enough to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Jackie, if you'd please call the roll.
Ambrose.
Here.
Condon.
Here.
Rawson.
Here.
Dickman. Here. Matson.
Here.
Grip.
Here.
McGinnis.
Here.
Kluhl.
Here.
Tompkins.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
Hello? Yeah. I just got to speak in. Thank you. Protocol and decorum for tonight. Good evening. As we begin this meeting of the City Council, I'd again like to welcome all those in attendance and those who are viewing the meeting on the television or the internet. We respectfully welcome your comments and opinions. Please keep in mind that as you talk to the City Council, you're also sharing your thoughts with fellow Davenporters and with viewers throughout the region by way of the TV broadcast. We're happy that you're participating in your city government and ask that your participation reflect the common desire we all share to make Davenport an even greater place for our citizens. For the children, adults, seniors, and families in our community, those in attendance and those watching at home, I thank you for joining us. At this time, we ask that you turn off or silence your cell phones and other electronic devices, as they can possibly interfere with our system in the chamber. If you wish to address the council on a specific item that appears on a committee agenda, you're encouraged to do so during that particular committee item. You also have an opportunity to address the City Council later on under the public business portion of the meeting, which will occur towards the end. When addressing the City Council, I ask that you step to the podium, wait to be recognized by myself or a respective committee member, and speak to the council as a body and not to any single member. You're asked to please limit your remarks to more than 5 minutes, unless it's a public hearing, and I ask that everyone observe the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. Thank you. Is there any city administrator update, Ms. Spiegel, tonight?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 8 public hearings this evening. 6 of them are in the community development area, so I'll ask Alderman Grip to please lead those public hearings.
Thank you, Your Honor. It'd be my pleasure. It's always good to have a full community development agenda. I open public hearing number 1 for the ordinance for case REZ 18-12, being the request of Chris Townsend on behalf of Jimmy Holt to rezone 1.43 acres more or less of property located at 3730 West Locust Street from C1 Neighborhood Commercial and R3 Moderate Density Dwelling District to PDD Planned Development District. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this public hearing? Seeing no one, I move to close the public hearing. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. This public hearing has been closed. Public hearing number 2 is a public hearing for the ordinance for case REZ 18-13 of Hawkeye Paving for the rezoning of 30.7 acres more or less of real property located at 8228 North Fairmount Street, the former Wacky Water site, from A1 Agricultural District to M1 Light Industrial District to facilitate development of contractor headquarters, shop, and equipment storage. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this item? Seeing no one, I move to close the public hearing. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. This public hearing has been closed. Public hearing number 3 is for case ROW 18-02 of City of Davenport for the vacation, abandonment of public right-of-way along the 50,000 block of Forest Grove Court, east to the corporate limits containing 1.47 acres more or less. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this public hearing? Seeing no one, I move to close the public hearing. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. This public hearing has been closed. Item number 4 is a public hearing on the Consolidated Plan Annual Performance Evaluation Report for the year ending June 30, 2018. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this item? Seeing no one, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
This public hearing has been closed. Item number 5 is a public hearing on the proposed conveyance of 5 parcels located south of the Salvation Army Building at the northwest corner of 5th and Harrison. Arsenal Properties LLC is the petitioner. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this public hearing? Seeing no one, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. This public hearing has been closed. Item number 6 is a public hearing on the proposed conveyance of vacated public right-of-way, that being a part of Fairhaven Road lying south of 53rd and between lots 2 and 3 of Hanlon's Addition. WCT Investments LLC is the petitioner. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this public hearing? Seeing no one, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. This public hearing has been closed, and that concludes the public hearings for community development, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Grip. And the next 2 are in Public Works, so Alderman Ambrose, if you'd lead those discussion.
Thank you, Honor. I open a public hearing on the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the alley resurfacing project between 715 Pine Street and 822 Belmont Street. Anybody from the public wishing to address this? Hearing and seeing no one, I move to close this public hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The second item is a public hearing on the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Duck Creek Stream Stabilization Project. Anybody from the public? Hearing and seeing no one, Your Honor, I move to close this public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Ambrose. There's no presentations for tonight, so we'll go to petitions and communications from council members and the mayor. So the first one I see is Alderwoman McGinnis.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just one more reminder of the Gold Coast Home Tour this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 12 noon to 4 o'clock each day. 5 great houses on the tour, plus the German American Heritage Center and the JIP. So hope you can join us.
All right, thank you. And the next one is Alderman Klool.
Thank you. I just want to re-announce our combined 6th Ward and 8th Ward meeting coming up on the 24th on Monday. Councilmember Tompkins and myself will be holding a joint ward meeting to talk about commissions and committees. I think that there must be a lot of interest in joining and being part of city government and the committees and commissions, but I think a lot of people probably aren't aware of how easy it is to get involved. So we're going to hold this session, and we're going to have representatives from CPED there, as well as Dee Bremer is going to join us, an individual who, as you know, has served with city government and county government and has been around the block, as they say, in government. And she has some real-time experiences that I think will be helpful for people to realize how rewarding, or on the other hand, perhaps how difficult it may be to be on committee. So before you make a decision, she'd be a good person to be able to lay that out for you. So this is for 6th and 8th wards, but certainly anybody in the city is welcome to come if you want an update on what's going on with committees and commissions. We're adding something to that at 5:30. 5:30, I'm going to have a special neighborhood meeting for the replat of Lot 1 of Crow Valley Addition along the north side of 56th and the north side of Lakeview Parkway. This is an issue that's come up, and I would like to make sure that the development that is being proposed for this area is, the information is available to the residents in the area, so we'll be getting that information out by robocall and by next door. But if you are here and you're from that area, you're certainly welcome to attend starting at 5:30, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Cluel. I have two things. One, just letting people know this week is National Medicare Education Week. Now in its 7th year, offers educational events and online resources to help people make informed decisions about their Medicare coverage before the Medicare annual enrollment period, which is October 15th to December 7th. And then we're going to have a meeting on October 4th at Public Works in the lunchroom for people around the Marquette Dog Park. And for the woods just north there, there's a possible proposal for a bike trail in those woods. So Public Works and Parks have worked together to host it. So we're getting the word out to the neighbors around there. So that's at 6 p.m. at Public Works on Thursday, October 4th. Thank you. Anyone else? Very good. Okay, we'll move on to the action items for discussion in the 4 specific areas. The first one is in the area to be discussed is community development, and Alderman Grip as the chairman and Alderman Cluel as the vice will lead those discussions. Alderman Grip, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. I open the meeting for community development this evening. We have 7 items on the agenda, and we will begin with item number 1, which is a third consideration, ordinance amending the boundaries and exemption schedules of the Central City and North Urban Revitalization areas. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this item? Anyone from the council? This item will move on. Item number 2 is a first consideration ordinance for case REZ 18-12, being the request of Chris Townsend on behalf of Jimmy Holt to rezone 1.43 acres, more or less, of property located at 3730 West Locust Street from C1 Neighborhood Commercial and R3 Moderate Density Dwelling District to PDD Planned Development District. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this item? Anyone from the council? Alderman Dunn.
Thank you, Alderman Grip. I just want to thank the petitioner, staff, Alderman Grip, and Condon for attending the public meeting on this. There was a lot of good questions that were asked, and I believe everybody's concerns were addressed, and everybody walked out of the room happy. So, thank you.
Seeing no other comments from council, this item will move on. Item number 3 is a first consideration ordinance for case REZ 18-13 of Hawkeye Paving for the rezoning of 30.7 acres, more or less, of real property located at 8228 North Fairmount Street, the former Wacky Waters site, from A1 Agricultural District to M1 Light Industrial District to facilitate development of contractor headquarters, shop, and equipment storage. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this item? Anyone from the council? Seeing no one, this item will move on. Item number 4 is a resolution for case F18-10 of Riverstone Group, Inc. for a final plat of Crow Valley Plaza, 12th edition, on 14.67 acres, more or less, being a replat of Lot 1 of Crow Valley Plaza, 10th edition, located along the north side of East 56th Street and north of Lakeview Parkway, containing 2 lots. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this item? Please step to the left turn and state your name and address or ward, please.
My name is Brian Dockery. My address is 338 West Broadmoor Drive, Eldridge, Iowa. I am a vice president of Riverstone Group. What we're doing here is a simple replat of a plat that was done last year. And the only difference is our new corporate headquarters, we're building on the east half currently, which would be Lot 2 of the proposed. Lot 1, we're looking at marketing that for more development to come in to the city, and we understand it has to be the CO or C2 designation that's currently there, and they have to go through all the proper procedures. The only difference in the plat between the last one is the line right in the middle, and we added footnote number 6, which says any new development has to comply with the most current current writing of the statute 13.43 for stormwater management. That's all I have, unless you have some questions of me.
Thank you. If we have any questions, I'll call you back up. Okay. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to comment on this item? Anyone from council? Seeing no one, this item will move on. Item number 4 is a resolution approving a development agreement for 1606 Brady Project with developer 1606 Brady Associates LP, Newberry Living. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this item? Anyone from council? This item will move on. Item number 6 is a resolution approving the conveyance of 5 parcels located south of the Salvation Army Building at the northwest corner of 5th and Harrison. Arsenal Properties LLC is the petitioner. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this item? Anyone from the council? Alderwoman McGinnis.
Thank you, Alderman Grip. Yeah, the only question I have about this is if there could be, this could be amended to have approval contingent on the completion of the sales contract. I don't know if the sale has finished up, and that would give me some comfort, I think.
Bruce Berger, Community Planning and Economic Development Director, reports that they have not closed yet. So if you'd like to make that a motion, that sure should be in order.
So I will make a motion that this approval be contingent on the closing of the sales contract of the property.
Voice vote. Yeah. There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed, same sign. Item number 6 has been amended. Anyone else on the council with comment on this item? Seeing no one, this item will move on. Item number 7 is a resolution approving the conveyance of vacated public right-of-way, that being a part of Fairhaven Road lying south of 53rd Street and between lots 2 and 3 of Hanlon's Addition. WCT Investments LLC is the petitioner. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment on this item? State your name and address or ward, please.
Good evening. My name's Dale Gilmore, and I live in the 6th Ward. I have a problem with this proposed conveyance, and let me explain. At the City Council meeting on Wednesday, July 25th, the developer of the property stated that he paid $584,000 per acre for the land he purchased. The public right-of-way, formerly known as Fairhaven Road, bisects these properties. Any developer will tell you that for commercial development, one large property offers a greater number of possible opportunities than 2 smaller properties. Now let's do some math. The proposed conveyance is 0.34 acres. $584,000 times 0.34 is $198,560. So using the developer's figures, this property has a fair market value of $198,560. Adding in the fact that this property will join the 2 smaller properties into a larger contiguous property should put the value of this conveyance even higher. Some will point out that this conveyance will mean that the city will no longer have to maintain the property, and in addition will collect taxes on the property. Also, since there are utilities under the property, no structures may be built on that property. Any developer will tell you that a needed driveway or parking lot has just as much value as a commercial structure. At the council briefing just yesterday, Brandon Wright pointed out possible shortfalls in the 2020 budget. Well, here's $200,000. You're talking about just giving away. Really? Okay, if you want to just give away the property, I'll take it. Otherwise, I believe the developer should be required to pay the fair market value as stated by the developer of $198,560.
Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to comment on this item? Anyone from council? Alderman Ambrose?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, gentlemen made some bold statements. Tom, can you highlight that, or do we have someone from staff? Thanks, Nicole.
So 2 things on this one, Nicole Gleason, Public Works. The first one would be the value and consideration of it being non-buildable, and the second being that we will be taking property from them close to a third to a quarter of it, or 1.3 to 0.4 acres as far as for the 53rd widening project. So there's a little bit of an exchange going on as well. So that's where we had left it from a Public Works opinion, and I don't know if Bruce had more than that. Okay. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Nicole.
Is there anyone else from the council? And seeing no one, I'll just reiterate on that. And Mr. Gilmore and I, we've talked about this several times, and I would bring up the maintenance aspect, that we no longer have to maintain that portion of the road, and there's value in that, but also the fact that now we don't have to pay for the right-of-way when we expand 50, or when we widen 53rd. Those are real dollars that the city would be expending that we no longer have to. And also, in my 3 years, as I stated weeks ago when we were going through the Portillo's rezoning, that typically in my 3 years we have not charged these folks when we have abandoned right-of-ways for development. We've given it up, and so the precedent has been so far not to do that. So I would for the resolution. So seeing no one else, this item will be closed or moved along, and I will ask Alderman Kluhl to set the agenda.
Thank you, Councilmember Grip. I move that items number 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7 be moved forward to the consent agenda, recognizing that item number 6 was amended. Number 4 to discussion. Number 4 to discussion because of an upcoming neighborhood meeting, and if there's any comments during that time, I'd like to leave that on discussion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And that concludes community development this evening.
Thank you, Alderman Grip and Alderman Kluhl. The next area, second area, is public safety, so that'll be led by Alderwoman Rawson and Alderman Condon. Alderwoman Rawson, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll read these by section and ask for public and council input. Section number 1, resolution closing various streets, lanes, or public grounds on the listed dates to hold outdoor events. We have one item. St. Paul Lutheran Church, 2136 Brady Street, trunk or treat, already Halloween. October 21st, 2018, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Closure location is High Street between Brady and Main Street. Anyone from the public would like to comment on this item? Anyone from council? Seeing and hearing no one, this item will move on. Section 2, motion approving noise variance requests for various events on the listed dates and times. Also one item, National Kidney Foundation, Village Sidewalk Stroll, October, 7:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., outdoor music over 50 dBA. Anyone from the public that would like to comment on this item? And no. Anyone from council? Seeing and hearing no one, that item will move on. Section 3, motion approving beer and liquor license applications. New license, new owner, temporary permit, outdoor area, location transfer, etc. as noted. Artisan Grain Distillery, 318 East 2nd Street, license type C for native distilled spirits. Bootleg Hill Honey Meads, 321 East 2nd Street, Suite 200, outdoor area, license type C for native wine. Mary's on 2nd, 832 West 2nd Street, extended outdoor area, October 5th through 7th for the 2018 Fall Pride Fest, license type C for liquor. St. Anthony Church of Davenport, October 6, 2018, Fall Gala, license type C for liquor. And as I said yesterday, this was just a last-minute addition, so there's no concern with departmental sign-offs. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on any of these items so far? Anyone from council? Marion. Alderwoman McGinnis.
Thank you, Alderperson
Sorry, Marion
Rawson.
just came out off the top of my head.
Cool,
Apologize.
that's fine. I will be recusing myself from voting on the Bootleg Hill Honey Meads due to a conflict of interest.
Okay. Thank you, Alderwoman McGinnis. And the last two, Rookie Sports Bar, 2818 Brady Street, extended outdoor area, October 6th through 7th, 2018, for the SAU fundraiser, license type C for liquor. And finally, Costco, Ward 6 again. Thanks, Rich. Alderwoman. Cool. Costco Wholesale, 2790 East 53rd Street, license type E for liquor, beer, wine. Anyone from the public have any comments on those two items? Anyone from council? Seeing and hearing no one, those two items will move on with the rest. And the next section is annual license renewals. Don't read those. They're in your packet for your perusal. And with that, I would ask Alderman Condon to set an agenda.
I move to put all items on the consent agenda.
There's been a motion. Is there a second? There's a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. And we're back to you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Alderman Rawson. So the next area, third area, is Public Works, and that'll be that discussion by Alderman Ambrose and Alderman Dunn. Alderman Ambrose, please.
All right, thank you, Honor. I open the discussion with item number 3. Staff has asked that to be deleted so they can review the process. I'd like to have a motion to delete.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And I'll read the rest and then ask for input from the public if there is any. First item is a first consideration of an ordinance amending multiple chapters located within Title 8 Health, Safety, and Neighborhood Enhancement of the Davenport Municipal Code for the process of clarification and consistency with enforcement. You know, this is pretty important. Do we have someone from staff to give us a brief review of this? I've been on the council for a while, and this has been a yearly discussion.
Rich Oswald, Neighborhood Services Director. I put together a couple slides just highlighting the changes of Title 8. For most people, Title 8 covers our neighborhood enhancement and betterment to keep our neighborhoods clean and moving forward. Majority of our cleanup in Title 8 was general language cleanup. There's a lot of reference to old departments and some outdated ordinance that were removed. We also looked at in Section 8.14, the reduction of number of days for nuisance vehicles on private property. Currently, if it's a nuisance vehicle on a street, it's a 24-hour tow notice, and then the vehicle can be towed if it's not moved or fixed or brought into compliance. We're looking to move the same to private property. Once the notice is made, we could take action on abatement in 24 hours after notice was made to bring that in line to what we're doing with the street nuisance vehicles. Another one in Chapter 8 is the placement of waste recycles in containers post-collection. So currently, when your garbage day is, you can put your waste cycles out the night before, and then you're supposed to bring them back off the right-of-way at night. What this would do is require those collection containers to be brought out of the front yard to your backyard or side yard. 8.14.15 would be maintenance of boulevards and private property. So basically what we're looking there is to add some language that allows us to enforce non-groomed shrubbery, bushes, trees. This would require a 5-day notice period, and then we could abate. Unlike the grass, which is an immediate abatement, we would provide notice to the property owner, and then if the measure wasn't cleaned up, then we would go ahead and abate as a city. And then we also standardized the violation fees. Throughout the Chapter 8, there are a little bit different depending on which area you're in. So we standardize them to $100 for the first offense, $200 second offense, and then $500 for the third offense. Another large area in Title 8 is our property maintenance and rental ordinance. Some of our highlights there was currently our certification for rental properties. We have anywhere from a 1-year certification to a 6-year, just based on staff involvement, some input from some property landlords and owners. We wanted to try to narrow that down for we have better enforcement, more favorable inspection times for landlords to be able to improve their properties. So we're looking to reduce that to a 2, 3, or 4-year cycle. Depending on your inspection, you would be placed on those cycles. So we're taking away some of the extra cycles. Staff's terms, 6 years was a long time not to inspect a rental property and be able to make sure that it's been maintained and is up to standard. We believe 2, 3, and 4 years allows us to do what we need to do and make sure that it's not overbearing to the property owners. We also standardize the scoring of rental inspections. So basically now when you get set on those cycles, it's based on how your inspection went. So depending on how many violations you had, that code enforcement officer would make a determination of what cycle to put you on. With this change, we would do a point matrix, which everything is weighted, so each violation is weighted based on the level of risk. At the end of the inspection, once all that's inputted, then that cycle would be outputted without basically the inspectors. Just it would be standardized, it wouldn't be subjective. So depending on how many violations you had, that puts you in the cycle.
Rich, hey,
Yes.
great presentation.
Yeah.
You know, this is issues that really impact several neighborhoods, and all we ask is for people to be good neighbors and take care of their property. And unfortunately, we have people that have nuisance properties, and it's unfair to all the good neighbors. And Rich, you've been working on this a long time, and I really hope it has the ability to make some significant changes. Is there anybody from the public? Anybody from the council who has any questions? Yeah, go up to the microphone, please, and state your name.
My name is Adriana. I'm a resident of the 5th Ward. I think that it was the maintenance of boulevard and private property. I think that fine, the levels of fines is just a little pretty much outrageous. The dollar amount.
Well, I appreciate your concerns.
$500 for an unkempt
It's,
lawn for the third offense. I think that is outrageous.
well, it might be outrageous, but, it's outrageous for neighborhoods that are impacted by nuisance properties and property owners that don't address nuisances, whether it's trash or debris or grass not being cut. We reach out time and time again, and we don't start off with a heavy-handed fine, but
$100 is a heavy-handed fine.
first they're given a legitimate notice to address the problem, and if they have problems getting it in that timeline, our staff always works with them. So
what if there's a disagreement in terms of which plants are grown? For example, prairie grasses, are a little taller than other grasses, that were kind of, and other flowers. So what if, there's a disagreement between, these plants are supposed to be this tall, but you guys, according to this mandate or whatever.
well, why don't we allow
Wanna make
Rich
sure
to come up and address that? Because, we don't want to be heavy-handed, but we want people to be good neighbors, and it's very unfair to the neighbors when they have to deal with people that aren't taking care of their properties. We got many, many great people that take care of their properties, but we also have a significant number of nuisance properties that, whether they're landlords or homeowners, the city wants to work with them. We don't want to reach out and be heavy-handed. So, Rich, why don't you get up and briefly address the process, the notification process, please?
So on any nuisance abatement, the homeowner or property owner would be notified in writing by the city with a determined date of compliance. So as I said, something like that would be a 5-day notice. We'd ask you to comply. Normally that person would call in, speak to our department. Usually our staff is willing to go out, meet with the homeowner, look at the property, determine if it is a natural grass. We can confer with natural resources, and then if there is a disagreement between our enforcement officers and the property owner always has a right to appeal our decision, and then we would hold any abatement until that appeal hearing was completed.
Now, the fine has been addressed by, I believe, every council member here have been supportive of it, because there's such a history with nuisance properties and the lack of them being addressed for the good neighbors in the neighborhood. So, but we realize we have elderly people that have been living in these neighborhoods for years and years and years, and sometimes it's difficult for them. And we're going to work with people. We're not going to. If someone reaches out and has a legitimate concern, Rich and Rich's crew will address it. And you always have your ward alderman to go to, too.
So where does the fine money go?
The fine, I believe it goes into the general fund. But most of the time, if the city sends out a crew, and Rich, why don't you address that? If a property has debris and the grass hasn't been cut, what happens?
Yep. So the So the fine system actually is after multiple offenders. So if we do have an abate of property, we may not always levy a fine. We'll go ahead and do the abatement at what time the property would be charged, the actual cost of that abatement.
You
Whatever.
talk about the cost too, Rich.
Yep. So basically, it would be your labor hours for the crews to go out and clean the property. There would be an $50 administrative fee, and then that would be billed to the property. The citations wouldn't come in until it's multiple trips to that property to gain compliance.
Habitual nuisance properties. That's our number one concern.
So that maintenance crew that comes out, is that the people who respond the quickest? You guys have a saying,
Well,
responsible.
they try to respond quickly enough, but when
I'm wondering where the
when it comes to a
employees-
neighbor that has to live next to a nuisance, they don't come out quick enough. So, and government historically doesn't move quick enough, but we're trying to streamline that process.
I'm asking, where does the company who gets hired to come in and do that maintenance, that that
They're hired, I believe, through bid process. But if
Bid
you want to
process.
highlight a little bit on that,
Alderman Ambrose, if I could.
we
maybe
don't really have to keep going back and forth, but
maybe she
instead
can
what
get
I
with
would
Rich separately.
like to recommend instead is maybe we could start some kind of localized program where we could, maybe teach
people how to
school
cut their grass.
right, basically teach children how to do that, and then maybe we could kind of put the funds towards something like that, teach kids like good gardening
A
practices.
great idea. You can talk with
Instead
Rich
of
on that.
outsourcing those funds.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public? Alderman Rawson?
Thank you. I just wanted to say, so I think back in 2003, I was asked to be on a task force that the council had initiated in regards to rental property, and we tried to do some some ordinance updates at the time and made some leeway. So I'm very excited to see a lot of these things taking place. So well done, Rich. And in particular, I like the objectivity of the matrix, because I know in the past, having different code enforcement agents go out and do inspections, one agent might find something out of compliance, whereas someone else may not find it out of compliance. And then we had the same landlord with two different reporting systems, and that doesn't send a very good message to our public. So I like the idea of the matrix. It really takes away that subjective piece and makes it much more objective and fair across the board to landlords. So well done. Thank you.
Alderman Mattson?
Thank you, Alderman Ambrose. Rich, if you could clarify, so the cycle change, initially I was concerned, I think I understand you, but someone that's an abatement or a nuisance property, they don't have to wait, you don't wait 2 years to do that. So just explain that once they're in that process, there's like a 30-day and then it's, that type of thing, so everybody understands. Because when we're dealing with these properties, that's, so they understand that.
So, twofold. When you're looking at rental properties, they're on an inspection cycle, so they're only inspected 2, 3, or 4 years under the new proposal. If a tenant complains or there is a complaint, that property is inspected based on that complaint, and then it's either founded or unfounded. If it's a continual problem property, it's declared a nuisance property in which the city can take immediate action to take care of the nuisance.
And the cycles are relevant. The timeline.
Yes,
It's how you deal with and what the issue is, and the time
Correct.
could be pretty quick. And right. And I will certainly support what you're doing. And I think I like this because probably as many calls or concerns in the city, this area is big. We have so many that we have to deal with, and we have to have some more teeth because people are not doing what we're asking them to do. I appreciate you and your staff, and quite frankly, all of our staff that works with people, and I think most want to work with you, but the ones that don't care, we have got to do something with this. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mike. Alderman McGinnis?
Yes, I just wanted to also thank you for this and your hard work, Rich. I know this is something we've been pushing very hard on. I think particularly the vehicle, looking at the older heritage neighborhoods that are represented in the third ward is the abandoned vehicles, the vehicles sitting on grass. is a big problem. We still are not, and I know it's not your area, we're not addressing the unlicensed vehicles on our streets, and that's going to be something I'm going to keep talking about. But this is a great start, and I think will be terrific. And I want to thank you also for, we have many people who are renters in our our heritage areas, and I want to thank you for that as well. They deserve to live in accommodations that are clean and good places to live. And so I'm really glad to see this, and I hope that it will encourage our landlords, many of whom are great landlords, that will continue to have even better landlords. So thank you.
Thanks, Marion. Alderman Tompkins.
Thank you. I just also wanted to say thank you so much for your commitment and dedication. This is a huge overhaul that was much needed. So we really appreciate it. Know it was a lot of work, and happy that you're here and got this done. So thank you.
All right. I'll be reading the rest of them and then ask for public at the end. Number 2 is resolution approving the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the alley resurfacing project between 715 Pine Street and 822 Belmont Street. Paving Corporation in the amount of $315,383.50. Number 4 is a resolution approving a grant agreement with the Iowa Department of Transportation for the City Highway Bridge Program for the Division Street Bridge deck replacement over Duck Creek. Number 5 is a resolution approving the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the Duck Creek Stream Stabilization Project. Estimated cost, $425,000. Number 6 is a resolution approving the contract for the Miracle Field of the Quad Cities Phase 1 to N.J. Miller Incorporated of Bettendorf, Iowa, in the amount of $358,219.25. Number 7 is a resolution approving the change order number 1 for the digester and number 4 reconstruction project at the Water Pollution Control Plant to General Contractors Incorporated in the amount of $84,558. Number 8 is a resolution assessing the cost of boarding up buildings at various lots and tracts of real estate. Number 9 is a resolution assessing the cost of brush and debris removal at various lots and tracts of real estate. Number 10 is a resolution assessing the cost of condemnation of property, demolitions of various lots and tracts of real estate. Number 11 is a resolution assessing the cost of replacing sidewalks at various lots and tracts of real estate. And the last one is number 12, a resolution assessing the cost of weed cutting at various lots and tracts of real estate. Anybody from the public wishing to address any of these items? Council? Alderman Mattson.
Thank you, Alderman Ambrose. I want to keep congratulating Public Works about keep attacking the bridges and fixing them and working with the state to do that. We've been doing that for a few years, and the staff, thank you for doing that. Those are pretty critical places, and I appreciate your priority in getting those done. And then a really cool thing is this Miracle Field. They have one in Dubuque. It's really nice, and the one we're doing here is going to be extra cool. So thank you for getting this pushed through.
That's going to be the best Miracle Field in the United States. All have been done.
Thank you, Alderman Ambrose. I believe staff recommended that we delete number 3.
It has been. That was the first item.
Thank you.
Alderman Dunn, can you set the agenda, please?
I sure will. With item number 3 being deleted, I move to place item number 1 on discussion and the remaining on consent.
All right, thank you, Alderman Ambrose. And now the next and last area, finance, led by Alderwoman Tompkins and Alderwoman McGinnis. Alderwoman Tompkins, please.
Yes, thank you. We have a lot of stuff going on here tonight. Number 1 is a motion awarding a blanket contract for the purchase of calcium chloride, aka salt, from Jericho Services Incorporated of Indianola, Iowa. Yes, this is preparing us for winter that we may not want to talk about yet. Anyone from the public wish to comment on this item? Anyone from council? Thank you. This item will move forward, and that's it. I will ask Alderman McGinnis to please set the agenda.
And I would recommend that the motion 1 be moved to consent agenda.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. In addition, we do have just items listed for your information only that are purchases, and that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman Tompkins. And then finally, we have other ordinance or resolutions motions. Does anyone have one? Staff, us, council? No? Very good. And then public with business. Does anyone from the public have any item they'd like to discuss with the council? This is a listening session for us. You give us your input for 5 minutes, and we listen and take notes. And then if we can try and help with the staff, we will. Does anyone from the public have any items to discuss with us at this time? Okay, hearing, seeing no one. Is there any other reports from city officials, Ms. Spiegel, Mr. Warren? No, very good. Is there a motion to adjourn? There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed. We are adjourned. Thank you.